clients in other parts of the country. So today we have Mr. Ed Eakin joining us. He has been with the Sphere Influencer Program for a very long time, also has his own brokerage. He is an amazing realtor, a great person in general, but also he is somebody that is very familiar with being a global realtor. Jason and I joke and call him Mr. Mexico, but he actually sells global real estate in way more places than just Mexico, and he'll be telling you about that. But we've actually been to Mexico with Ed and seen a lot of the developments, and he's hooked us up, and he's going to talk to you about some of the ways that you can become a global realtor, what to be thinking about. And then we will have a Q&A at the very end. So if you guys have questions for Ed and you want to ask him, you'll be able to do so. And then also we'll leave a few minutes at the end that if you guys have questions for me about general things in the coaching program, you'll do that at the very, very end, okay? So that we can respect Ed's time and your time. We'll first be talking about questions first about being a global realtor, and then we'll at the very end cover the rest. Ed is on so many committees, you guys. He serves the real estate community at such a high level. So not only is he serving his sphere and always providing value, but he also serves the real estate community by serving on multiple boards, including the National Association of Realtors Global Committee. So this is the guy that has the knowledge about being a global realtor. And again, we just love him in general. So, Ed, welcome. And thank you for agreeing to talk to everybody today.
Man, thanks for the invite and the introduction and all the technical help right before we started this morning.
I know. You know, we are in the Ozarks, you guys. So I have like a makeshift production studio going on right now. So yeah, technical difficulties are fun. So thank you, Ed, for putting up with that. And thank you for being here today. I'm going to let you take over and I will be here listening if you need me for anything.
Great. So let me see if I can go back to sharing my screen and we'll go from there. Hold on one second. Bear with me.
Okie dokie. No problem.
Let's see. We're going to do desktop. Share. Can y'all see that now?
Yes.
Okay, and then I'm almost there. Play from the start. Okay, how are we doing now?
Perfect. We can see it great.
Great. So, hello everybody. Man, I'm always super excited to jump in front of other realtors and share my global adventure and how all of y'all can be global realtors as well. Here's some information that I will share about me. You can see there's a lot of designations behind my name because I'm a firm believer in adding education to our resumes. And I have to say that CIPS, which we'll talk about, is my absolute favorite designation. So let's see if we can advance that. Like Amber said, I'm involved in a lot of things, and it all started locally and you know, with my local association. And at the time, it was really the Houston Association of Realtors, which is where I was living. I got really involved, got lucky, found a mentor that said, hey, get involved. And fast forward, I ended up being the 2019 chair of the global committee at HAR, which HAR is the second largest association in the country. So from there, I moved back to Dallas, which is where I'd lived most of my life after college. And I got involved at metroplex and on the global committee. Actually, I helped start the global committee. They did not even have a global committee. And I was there at the very beginning, worked my way up to where I became a director. I was a director on the board of directors at metroplex for, I think, 6 years. I rolled off last year, was my last year to do that. And then it was on to, okay, getting on the board of directors at Texas Realtors. I served as a director at Texas Realtors for 2 years before now my position at Texas Realtors is regional vice president. Okay. I also served as director at NAR last year. I stepped in, somebody retired, and they put me in that position for a year. And I'm telling you all this stuff because it started locally, went to the state, went to the National Realtors Association. I did all that stuff so I could be a global ambassador. I had to have all this stuff on my resume to get the opportunity to be one of 26 global ambassadors at NAR. It took me 6 years applying to become a global ambassador before I had the opportunity. Because there's 1.5 million realtors, and a lot of realtors want to become a global ambassador. We have to apply every year, and you sit there, crossing your fingers that you get selected again. And right now we're in that process because I don't know if I'll be global ambassador for next year. I kind of know already. They've kind of let me know, but at the same time, it's not official until the NAR president says, yes, Ed will be the ambassador for Barbados, Belize, Trinidad, and Tobago. And right now they're talking about adding Panama to my list as well for next year. So with that being said, we'll jump to the next slide. Real estate business knows no bounds. The real estate world has really gotten a lot smaller, with the internet access and all these Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups. Man, real estate is global. And I really jumped into real estate to sell pretty beaches around the world. And what I really didn't realize was the world is moving to Texas for everybody in here that is from Texas. I mean, the world's moving here. It's crazy how many foreigners are moving here. And currently, Texas is, some people say, the second most popular state for foreigners. Others, we've been third for a long time. Florida being number one place for foreigners to move to. California has been number two, and Texas has been number three. Was New Jersey, New York for four, but now it's more Arizona is four. And as we all know, California is moving here. So I got to think Texas is pretty strong at the number two position right now. So it makes sense to get involved in global real estate so you can, get referrals here. Our coaches here at Influential Agent are talking about referrals and how you build referrals, and why not get referrals globally. And man, that happens to me all the time from realtors from around the world. CIPS, that's Certified International Property Specialist. That is my favorite designation out of the 12 that I have. It's also the first designation that I earned after getting my real estate license. Man, it's opened up so many doors for me. And it's just crazy how many doors it's opened up. And here again, got it to sell pretty beaches, but at the same time, now I'm getting referrals back here in Texas. Just a little flyer that I created from CIPS. Do most of y'all use PhotoFi from NAR? Yes, no, hopefully. PhotoFi is a free benefit that all of us get as a member of NAR. And depending on the designations that you have, you can go in and create pretty flyers in seconds. And if you don't have any designations, they have a ton of realtor flyers that are really pretty cool. You just put your picture in, and I use them all the time. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you will see I use them weekly to show off the different designations that I have, and then also the fact that I'm a realtor. CIPS is a 5-day class. Okay, most associations and around the world teach all 5 days in 1 week. Okay, sometimes they start on Thursday, they do Thursday, Friday, and then come back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Others just do it Monday through Friday. It's always been a complaint that it's hard for realtors to get away for 5 days from your business because it's it's 5 classes that are 8 to 5 o'clock. Okay, so pretty intense. You can see all the different subjects. And these are the 5 most common ones taught, but there are some electives that can take the place of Europe and Asia. The first 3 on this list right here, those are mandatory classes that you have to take. The next 2 are more like electives. There's also one that they just created about a year and a half ago on Africa, which is getting a lot of interest as NAR and Africa have started to really grow their relationship. Also, there's an elective RSPS, Resort and Second Home Property Specialist, that can be used as one of your electives. You'll see the QR code. This is for metroplex, for you metroplex members. We are allowing people outside of our association, do these classes. They're in person, and as you can see, we put them, spread them out a little bit. So as a realtor, you don't have to take 5 straight days off from your business.
Hey, Ed, if they're from outside the area, I'm guessing they could just go to the CIPS website to see where they can find the local classes, or should they just check with their associations if they're not local?
Yes, you can go to the NAR website and click on CIPS classes, and it'll give you all the CIPS classes that are going on for the rest of the year. We had
Awesome.
a thing, I was supposed to be teaching CIPS in Romania in September, but that ended up getting canceled. I was supposed to teach it with 5 other instructors. So if you go to the NAR website, you can see, because there's a lot of times CIPS is offered virtually. Okay, I would highly recommend that you do it in person. It's just a lot more fun. It's hard to sit in front of your computer for 8
8 hours
for 5 days. If you can do it in person, I would recommend it in person.
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
And later on in the year, I'm teaching it in Houston and I'm teaching 2 out of the 5 days, and it's going to be 5 straight days there. I believe if you're feeling beachy, I believe I'm going to be teaching CIPS in Barbados. We're working on that right now. And that would
Wow.
be 5 days straight for those that want to fly to Barbados and take it in Barbados.
So it's like a beach tax write-off.
No, it's a write-off. All education is a write-off. So, and why not do it on a beach? And
I know, I love it.
this is part of why I got my CIPS ability to instruct, because in the future, I want to teach more from pretty beaches around the world. So
yeah, love it.
So RSPS, it is a great 1-day designation that you can take even without taking CIPS. If you're doing lake homes and ski homes in Aspen, or any kind of vacation home, wherever it is, this designation, it's 1 day. It's a good start to get your feet wet and to learn, how to add this, to your business. I teach this as well, obviously, and it's a little more local. Okay, if that's your plan. Trade missions. Let's talk a little bit about trade missions. First of all, I will tell you, I do trade missions around the globe, and Amber and Jason went on a trade mission with us in Mexico a few years back. And, during these trade missions, on my trade missions, I'm introducing everybody to local realtors wherever we are. If there's an association, I am introducing people to the association. We're touring properties, we're meeting developers, and it's trying to help the people that go on these trade missions to build relationships with other realtor partners. And why do we do that? For referral. Okay, we love referrals. So there's trade missions going on all over the place. They're going to Dubai. There's one right now that's being advertised in Portugal with my friend Antonio Barbosa. I'm seeing my friend Spencer Hu do a trade mission in Vietnam. And I mean, they're just all over the place. And when you get your CIPS designation, you have access to our private Facebook page. And most designations, for those that don't have any designation, most designations have private Facebook pages. And that's where you go and raise your hand and say, hey, I'm in Dallas, Texas, and I speak Spanish and I love referrals in Dallas. All that was true about Ed, except for speaking Spanish. My Spanish is not so good. I know I can survive, but doing real estate business Spanish, I can't do that. Okay. Unfortunately, but these trade missions are a great way for you to learn about real estate in whatever areas of the world that interest you. For me, it started in Mexico, and just, through 12, 14 years of practice in real estate now, it's gone to Barbados and Trinidad and wherever there's a pretty beach. But pick a spot. You can't learn. I was talking to one of my agents on my team, and he told me yesterday, he's a brand new agent. He said, man, there's so much to learn. How did you do it? And I said, well, I've been in it for 14 years. And he said, how did you start? And I said, well, I lived in Mexico, selling real estate in Mexico, and that's where it started. So pick a spot that you like and learn about it. And I can help you. I can connect you, with any place in the world that you want to learn real estate. I can help you with those connections. Mm-hmm. Now, this flyer right here, this is a trade mission that Metroplex is doing. Okay, we're doing this at the end of July. We're doing an inbound trade mission. Okay, and all your associations, often if you have global committees, they do inbound trade missions with associations coming to your association from around the world. Okay, some of the bigger associations, they have what they call ambassador associations. So to give you an example, HAR in Houston, our ambassador association is Belize. Okay, at Metroplex, our ambassador association is the Netherlands, and I'm very involved at ABOR Global as well. That's the Austin Board of Realtors, and our ambassador association there is Ireland. Okay, so here at Metroplex, we are bringing in AMPI. AMPI is the NAR of Mexico. So we're bringing really 8 of the most powerful people at AMPI. They're coming to Metroplex July 29th. All of y'all can register for this event if you want to attend. It's a 3-day deal of different things. And if you want to come meet the NAR of Mexico, the president's coming from AMPI. Last year's president of AMPI is coming. The president before is coming, and then all their global directors. All very good friends of mine. Okay, and they became friends of mine because I've gone to their conferences and I've met them over the last 10 years. So they're coming here. Okay, we're also partnering up with NAREP. I don't know if many of y'all know what NAREP is, but that's the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. You don't have to be able to roll your R's to be a member. I was the only non-fluent Spanish speaking person on the board of directors for the last 7 years. Okay, why do you want to be a part of NAREP? Well, over half of all the transactions in the United States last year involved a Latino on one side. Okay, so it makes sense to be a part of their association and learn. And that's across the United States. For y'all that live in Texas like myself, that number is much higher. Latinos are the biggest group of people buying real estate. So I'm a huge fan of NAREP. It costs $50. They have great events, great networking, and it's really helped, my business. And here again, they're teaming up with Metroplex. As you can see on the last day, part of the deal is they're having an all-day summit with lots of great speakers, including my biggest client from Mexico. It's a company called Simca. One of the partners is coming in and speaking at that. and they're the largest developer. Amber and Jason met him, and he'll be here that week to talk there. So
Yeah, Ed, I
great.
want to give you do you think that for trade missions, first of all, I think it's awesome because you get to have fun while you're learning, right? Because it's like we need more fun as realtors, like more travel, the better, more write-offs. But the reason we started with Ed in Mexico, and you probably know better numbers than I do, Ed, but the Mexican economy and especially the real estate market is one of the fastest growing that there is globally, from what I'm hearing. And so that's why we started there, because you'll get a lot of questions. So it is a great place to start if you're looking to go global. Mexico is one of the fastest growing economies real estate wise. Is that still accurate, Ed?
Absolutely. And as we get through here, I got a bunch of quick slides we'll run through on Mexico.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Because it's so, to me, like you said, it's really the easiest place to go jump and do global real estate, because there's 100 flights from Texas a day, or I say 100, there's probably 300 flights from the state of Texas to Mexico daily. If you look at Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to talk a lot about Mexico.
And even though not all of our members are from Texas, it's still close to the US compared to
right. You just have to stop in Texas to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the world is moving to Mexico. Okay. And we'll talk a little bit about that when I talk about Mexico. Here, this is just a flyer to show we're taking the guys, or it's guys and gals, the team from AMPI. We're taking them to a soccer game here in Dallas because we just happen to be playing Mexico while they're here. So I think half of them came just for the soccer game, because in Mexico, soccer is so popular. So when we told them we were taking them to a soccer game, they're like, oh, can we come? We're in. So, and just so you know, more people wanted to come, but we just really geared it down to really the most powerful people at that association. We're hosting them. We're paying for this event for them to come stay with us. So it's a pretty cool setup for them. Okay, the importance of global committees. As you can see, first of all, kind of to the squares around my picture there, those are all the associations that I'm very active in. Okay, and I had to do that when I first got in, because I've only been in real estate since I went to Mexico to start my real estate career in 2008. I came back here 2010 and got a real estate license. Okay. So I started locally, and then as you can see, I'm active in all those associations. The circles to the right, those are, I believe I'm the only, first of all, I'm forever, and I still am to this day, I'm the only broker in the state of Texas that is a member of the Houston Association, the Austin Association, and Metroplex Global Committees. The only one. There's some that are members of 2, but I'm the only one that has been a member of 3 and active in all 3. And with that association, NAR gives out awards. And those are the circles that you see. There's actually a silver award that I won, or I was a part of that team, but that was a long time ago, and silver is nothing. You want to get to the diamond award. And right now, currently, HAR in Houston is the only diamond award global committee. Austin is very close. You have to win platinum for 5 years straight. And I've been at the Austin Global Committee since their first year when they won gold. And now we're 1 year away from winning diamond there. Other groups, when we talk about global real estate and how you do global real estate, it's a numbers game. The more people you meet, the more people you shake hands with, the more people you build relationships, as we all learned in our coaching program here with Amber and Jason. If you connect with people and you build relationships, that's how you get referrals. Okay. And referrals, when they come, man, they come out of nowhere. And I think we all can say we love referrals, okay? And one of the ways that I've learned to build referrals or have the opportunity for referrals is to join organizations. And that's how I've grown my brand quick. That's how, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I don't think I've been in real estate very long. And when I go to conferences, people come up to me. They said, "Oh, we're friends on Facebook. Oh, I've seen you on this Zoom. I've seen you on that Zoom." And I mean, they're like my best friends. And, you know, that started a few years back, but it's all the organizations like NARREP and ARIA, which is the Asian version of NARREP, FIOPSI, which FIOPSI is a world networking group for realtors from around the world that I'm a member of. So you got to get involved, and just starting at the beginning, and you know, with your local, see if your local association has global, and then you just, you know, you get involved. Realm, I'm showing this deal. This is a group of the top 1% of realtors in the world. It's invitation only. It's about $8,000 a year to as an entry point. And then they have opportunities to go to what I just got back from, the Global Collective, which was at the Montage in Laguna Beach. And, you know, I think that was about a $5,000 spend. But man, I'm surrounding myself with realtors around the world that are in the top 1%. Okay. Great way for referrals, and a great way for me to share my global opportunities to these top 1% of these realtors, because they all have clients that want second homes. And all of our clients in this Zoom meeting today, believe me, everybody wants to own a lake home or a beach home. 14% of all real estate homes last year sold were second homes. Okay, so they're in your sphere. And for Mexico, when I get into Mexico, the number one buyer for Mexico is Texans. Okay, so for y'all that are from Texas, man, those people were coming from your sphere. Okay, so you know, back to Realm, join. You know, you don't have to join Realm. Realm's hard to get into now because they've kind of closed it off. Although every time somebody falls out, they bring somebody else in new. But man, if you ever have a big property and you need some help getting some eyeballs on it, man, reach out to me and I can share it in this platform in about 2 seconds. Okay, but most of these things that are shared are on the luxury high-end stuff. I was on a Zoom meeting yesterday, and one of the agents was talking about a $50 million property that they had. And this agent, I know this agent well, and she's always doing $50 million projects. It's crazy. Next up, Area. Area is another group that I'm a part of, a much smaller group, very, what I want to say, inexpensive group to get in. It's very limited. I think there's 3 people from Texas and that are in it, and I'm in this group not because of Texas. The 3 people that are in this group, some of y'all might know. First of all, Jennifer Wahab, which was the chair of the Houston Association of Realtors last year. She is now, I think, secretary at Texas Realtors. She will be the president of Texas Realtors here. I think it's a succession thing, so I think she's 2 years away. Cindy Bulla, which was a past TR president, Texas Realtor president, she's on it. And then somebody that all of y'all should know, Leslie Ruda Smith. She was our NAR president 2 years ago. She's a part of this group. I'm a part of Area because of my Mexico ties. That's how I got in. They don't bring in too many people from each state, but if you're interested in learning more, I can make that connection for you, and it might be something that you might be interested in, because like I just showed you the level of realtors from the state of Texas that are in this group. It's the same across the country. It's realtors from across the country. A lot of them that are well known, including the president of NAR 4 years ago, Vince Malta, And I'm trying to think, there's another president of NAR that's in this group as well. So something to consider. Let's jump to Mexico, my favorite subject. Okay. Love Mexico. I go quite often. Lived in Playa del Carmen for 2 years and came back because I was in love with a pretty girl that married somebody else when I got back to Texas. And I've been trying to figure out how to get back to Mexico full time ever since. Haven't figured that out, but I go, last year, I think I went 14 times. Okay. And look to break that record this year. Reasons to buy in Mexico, man, there's I have 1,000,001 reasons to buy in Mexico, and I could talk about it all day long. Here you see the history, the traditions, the different cultures. It's really amazing. Ranks the fifth largest in Americas and 14th globally. Tons of opportunities. Obviously, Texas or the United States, we share a huge border with Mexico. So it really makes it easy, going in and out of Mexico. Reasons to buy in Mexico, like Amber said, man, the economy is growing like crazy there. And more people are looking for an escape. And during COVID, Mexico was there, all these other countries were closed off. And the Caribbean, man, you couldn't get into the Caymans. Costa Rica, man, you couldn't get into Costa Rica. I had some clients actually stuck in Costa Rica and couldn't get out. And luckily, they had just bought a brand new house from me in Costa Rica, which was going to be their second home, but ended up being their primary home for a year while and it worked out really well for them. But Mexico was the first one to open up during COVID, and all the hotels, they were open up at 25% capacity. Here's a ton of reasons right here. There's a big range. You can buy a one bed or a studio in Tulum for 99,000. If you got, an unlimited budget. I was on the phone with the Four Seasons Costa Palmas yesterday, which is the East Cape of the peninsula north of Cabo. And I was talking to them about $20 million lots, just lots. So a huge range, whatever your clients want. So that's a cool thing about Mexico. There's something there for everybody. The exchange rates, the dollar's always pretty darn strong. So your dollar goes a long way in Mexico. Working remotely, man, they have good internet everywhere. That wasn't always the deal. Internet used to be a little patchy. And that's saying it nicely. But in Mexico, man, it's pretty strong. You can get good internet everywhere. And I can't say the same about other countries. Belize, depending on, I'm in Belize a bunch, and depending on where you are, man, internet sucks sometimes. It's just, you couldn't load a contract if you needed to load a contract. And I think that's what's important to us all. But in Mexico, they've figured out the internet thing. Lifestyle, man, you can live a great lifestyle in Mexico for a lot cheaper than you do here in the States, starting with housing. Man, housing, there's some awesome, opportunities, help. When I lived in Mexico, I had a maid come to my condo 5 days a week, and it was a 3-story condo with a rooftop overlooking the Caribbean. And yes, I was crazy to leave that for that pretty girl here in Texas. But the maid came to my house, $8 a day. She cleaned top to bottom. And I would tell her, it's me and my dog that live here, and you don't need to do that. But she cleaned top to bottom, and she brought me a platter of food every day. And here again, I said, man, I eat out every day. I love your food. She was a great cook. But for $8 a day, she prepared a meal for me, and she cleaned my condo. Man, prescription drugs. For those that are on prescription drugs like myself, man, some prescription drugs in Mexico. There's one particular drug that I take. It's $500 a month here. Okay. I go to Mexico, same box. It's $40 a month there. So a lot of Americans are going there, the ones that are on medicine and can't afford medicine here. They go to Mexico to be able to, enjoy life and get their medicine. I mean, for pennies. It's just crazy. So, lifestyle, because how cheap it is. Stability, man, Mexico has everything that you need. People often ask about, doctors there. Doctors, most of those doctors, they're trained in the United States and they decided to go back to paradise and be close to their family. They build cars there. They do everything there, and Mexico continues to be strong. And for the first time, they just elected a female president last month. So that's going to be interesting because in the past, it's always been a man running that country, and it's always been a dangerous place for certain governmental officials. Heavy security, and now it's a female for the first time, and a lot of what she was promoting was she was going to make Mexico a safer place. And for anybody that's ever heard of Merida, which is in the Yucatan, it's just a train ride away from Cancun. Merida last year was voted the second safest city in the world. I'm sorry, not the second, the safest city in the world.
Yeah, the first.
The second. So this past year, they were voted the safest city in the world. Beautiful city. Architecture is unbelievable. The culture, the arts, the music, the food. It's just really an unbelievable place. And a ton of Americans are moving there. Why is Mexico such a hot spot? I think we've kind of covered a bunch of these already. Just go through that. Common closing cost, down payment, initial property purchase. It varies with all the different developers. Sometimes it's 30% down with fees along the way if you're building new construction. Sometimes it's 50% down and then 50% at completion. There aren't many loans for Americans buying in Mexico, yet there is a new company. I say a new company, they've been around for about 5 years. It's called Moxie, Moxi, and I can always connect any of y'all with Moxie if you have a client that wants to learn more about mortgage opportunities for Americans buying in Mexico. Okay. Legal fees, notary. Notary is really like our title company. Everything goes through notaries there. Okay. And they're an attorney. It's an appointed position from the state. Common closing costs, let's see, agent fees. I will tell you, commissions vary across the board from 2% to 12, 15%. Everything's negotiable there. Taxes. Let's start with property tax. It's 0.001%. So on $1 million property, it's $1,000 a year for property tax. Okay, everything is purchased. People talk about not being able to own property in Mexico. You do it through a fiducio comicio, which is a trust. A lot of people call it a 99-year lease. Well, it's not a 99-year lease. It's really a 50-year trust that can be renewable. It can be sold. It can be rented. It can be leased. In my position, I've set my trust up. Anything happens to me, all my properties go to my children. And you can leave them to your family, your mother, your daughter, your business partner. You can set them up any way that you want. Best surfing locations for those that like to surf. I don't see too many surfers in here, and I'm way past my surfing age, but I always like to share surfing because a lot of my clients, they want to know they're buying so they can go surf every morning. That's what they want to do. So there's a few choice surfing deal. These beaches are perfectly fine to just lay out and drink drinks with umbrellas in them at the same time. Best golf courses. This is very important to me because I love golf. Okay. Golf is unbelievable in Mexico, especially in Cabo and up the peninsula. Cabo is the Pebble Beach for those that are golfers. It's the Pebble Beach of Mexico. Tons of great golf around Mexico. Marinas. Working with the client right now. Part of my discussion with the Four Seasons Costa Palmas yesterday was what kind of boat slip can my buyer get with the purchase of one of those $20 million lots versus a $2 million condo at the Four Seasons in Costa Palmas. Lots of marinas around, your Lisa marinas. They're on, usually you're not buying marina slips like we see some places here where you can buy a slip and you own slip. In Mexico, for the most part, from what I have found, you're leasing a boat slip, and usually it's a month-to-month contract. Life is short. Buy the beach house. That's what I tell clients all the time. You know, I was in a meeting yesterday and I heard a comment from a fellow broker in San Diego, and he says his line to his clients, it's never the wrong time to buy the right house. So, man, there's no reason not to buy that beach house now. And that's the end of my presentation. I forgot to mention that in 2022, I was metroplex Global Realtor of the Year. And man, I brag about that because, man, I love global real estate. I love helping realtors learn how to do global real estate. So jot down my information and contact me anytime you got any kind of questions or need some help. I'm always happy to help. You got a client that's looking in Portugal, man, I'm going to connect you with the best guy in Portugal. Got somebody that wants something in Panama, I'm going to connect you with my favorite lady, broker friend in Panama. Okay, so
talk about a great shortcut. Ed knows all the people that we need to know.
Yes, and getting that designation will help you with that because other CIPSs, they've been trained and they know about code of ethics and how we do business here and how we're supposed to take care of our clients and how we're supposed to act around our clients. And one thing I would recommend, if you're going to do global real estate, get the book, Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands. Okay, that's Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands. Very easy book to read. A great book if you're doing real estate because other cultures, you know, there's a space that people expect you to stand away from. If you're a Latino in Mexico, man, you're standing next to them and you're rubbing shoulders and you're hugging and you're kissing. I mean, your first meeting, they're going to kiss you on the cheek. That's their culture. Where other cultures, you better not do that, man.
Right.
That's a quick exit, you know, for doing business with them if you were to try to kiss another culture. So
yeah, good point. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Shake Hands is really a good book.
Glad you mentioned that.
That's it.
Okay, Ed, that was awesome. Let's open up the floor. You guys can unmute yourself if you have a question for Ed. Now is your time. We'll give them 1 second to find their microphones.
Don't be afraid.
Hi, Ed. In the beginning of the presentation, you mentioned a service that we have for creating some of the flyers. What was the name of that service that we got through National Association of Realtors?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding that question. Can you talk a little louder?
Oh, Ed, she's asking about the graphics company that you were saying creates images.
Oh, yeah. Photofy. PHOTFY. Photofy. And that is a free benefit of NAR, being an NAR member.
Thank you.
Super easy to learn, and it takes seconds to build something out.
Awesome. And Marta asked, how do you spell that? Marta, you might want to unmute and tell us what you're trying to spell because I can't remember what part of the presentation we were at with that.
Can you hear me?
Barely, you're really low.
Is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I was wanting to know what the area was that was the safest beach in Mexico.
Oh, the safest city in Mexico, or the safest city in the world is Merida, MERIDA. And I will tell you, you know, if you're not out looking for bad things at 2 o'clock in the morning, Mexico's pretty safe. It gets a bad rap for being unsafe. And man, if you just go and chill out, which that's the lifestyle in Mexico, Man, it's pretty darn safe. But Merida is voted number one. You know, Cabo is super safe, I believe. San Jose, which is right next to Cabo, is another. All the touristy, big touristy. Playa del Carmen. There is one street in Playa del Carmen called Fifth Avenue, and it's no cars on it, and 20,000 people walk down that every day, and it's just restaurant after restaurant with live music and shopping, great shopping, and you know it's one block from the beach, and so all the touristy places, I believe, you know, if you just act sensible, it's going to be a pretty safe place. I
Ed,
live
can you
there
stop sharing your screen so we can see you better now?
Oh yeah, hold on one
Gracias.
second. Let me-
I agree with you, Ed. When we went down on a trade mission, we walked everywhere and felt very safe. We walked to pharmacies, to restaurants, to groceries, to whatever. Having said that, you do have to be smart. I don't walk anywhere by myself, but at the same time, if I'm being real, I don't walk anywhere by myself in the United States hardly. I mean, I was watching the news and I was like, we were, for those of you that know us locally, you know, we're in the Dallas area, metroplex. There was murders, unfortunately, all over the news, even in our area. So it's not, I think it just gets sensationalized more because it's Mexico, but I try to be smart, whether I'm in the United States or Mexico, as far as where I'm walking and what I'm doing. I know Costa Rica is a big a place where a lot of people have a lot of interest, especially if they're into surfing and second properties. And Costa Rica is very safe. I just
People love
encourage,
Belize.
yeah,
And a lot of Americans like Belize because English is the first language. Okay. And so that's safe, and yeah, all the
Right.
touristy. There's just so many Americans, and the number two buyer behind Americans buying in Mexico are Canadians. Canadians are buying Mexico. We sell to a lot of Canadians, and then when you walk down Playa, when I lived in Playa, I thought it was so cool walking down Fifth Avenue, and man, I'd heard 20 different languages, you know, because people from around the world have moved to Playa del Carmen, and that's the same, you know, anywhere in Mexico. You're going to find a ton of Europeans buying down there. It's popular for Canadians because a lot of them go spend their winter months in Mexico because it gets so miserably cold in Canada, and then some end up living there full time. But most of the clients I've sold spend 5 to 6 months in Mexico.
Yeah, we love it. Okay, do we have any other questions
I
from
do.
anybody? Okay.
Ed, do you get your real estate license in Mexico and these other countries that you're selling
Yeah.
in?
So with most other countries, first of all, a lot of countries don't have licenses. Okay. So it would be hard to get one if they don't have them. In Mexico, back when I lived in Mexico, the joke was if you had a mobile phone, you could be a realtor in Mexico. And if you had a car, that was a bonus because most realtors, when I lived in Mexico, were showing real estate out of a taxi cab. Okay. Mexico does have a license now. I do own a brokerage with a partner in Mexico. Okay, so we're able to, you know, be licensed there. A lot of places around the world, you have to be a resident, you know, to have a license in some of these places. So you just have to check the particular area that you are wanting to do business to see if you have a license. CIPS teaches you to do everything referral based. So you don't,
Right.
you're not needing a license, okay? Because NAR gets complaints from around the world that, oh, there's an American named Ed. He went and put a for sale sign in front of a house in Nicaragua. Okay. They don't, other countries do not like us going and placing signs in front of houses outside the United States. So NAR wants you to have boots on the ground, you know, because we're supposed to be knowledgeable, you know, of the area that we're selling. So the way to satisfy that is to find an expert in that area. And that's
Yeah.
why CIPS is really cool, because you can go on CIPS directory and look up a CIPS in the area. And then if you
Yeah.
can't find a CIPS, then you go to like AMPI, which is the association. And not every realtor in Mexico is an AMPI member. Okay, I don't understand why, but they're not. And it's cheap for them. It's $100 a year for them. I'm an AMPI member for 49 as an international member. I don't know if that's still, I think I'm grandfathered in, but I think it might be $75 now for any of y'all to become a member of AMPI if you wanted to have access to Mexico. And but you don't have to be.
That's a great question, because like, we're really encouraging you guys to do what Ed said. When we say you're a global realtor, it's because you have team members that are in those places. So we really want to get the talk track to be people on your team. I don't mean team like you're an actual team. It means you should be developing a network of people to be on your team, like good lenders, good realtors from across the globe, good appraisers. Like, these are all team members. And so when we're using scripts like the one we're giving you this month, I'm glad Ed clarified that. I'm not expecting you to actually become a realtor in these other places. We want to partner with people and to utilize our spreadsheet here in the program under the Grow Your Sphere section of the university. If you're new here, there is a recording in there about our realtor referral program. Now, there's a spreadsheet in there, there's talk tracks in there for you to start building a list of people that you could partner with in the United States and globally. And you want to start building that team up. And the best way to do that is like what Ed said, is to start, if you're interested in global stuff, is you can get these designations. You'll start meeting people all over the world, but also Ed and some other people in this group are also, I know China's been to Costa Rica a bunch of times. So there's people that you can reach out to, because you don't want to use just anybody. After I went to Mexico with Ed, Jason and I have been a little bit obsessed with Mexico, and it's just because it's so close. The flight is so close to us to be able to, compared to other parts of the country. And we've seen how the economy and the real estate there has been just booming as far as return on investment, which we love. Ed, I think you own 2 or 3 properties there. But start somewhere, but it's not that you have to be the expert there. You have to be the expert at connecting your people with somebody really good on the ground there. As Ed said, that's what we mean by being a global realtor, is having connections in different parts of the country. But you also have to be careful. That's why Ed was mentioning these associations, to protect you for people who are actually educated in these different parts, because there are a lot of realtors in other parts of the country that are scam artists. I mean, I've experienced this. I'm not trying to scare you, but you got to be smart who you're connecting your people with. They do a lot of real estate transactions on Facebook Marketplace, including Mexico. And there's nothing wrong with being on Facebook Marketplace. Some of them use that as their local MLS. Now, Ed will tell you they already have an MLS there, but like he said, not everybody is joined to it. So they do a lot of business on Facebook Marketplace. Although there's nothing wrong with Marketplace itself, you want to be careful who you're connecting with your clients, your sphere with, because there are people that are good on there and there's people who are really not good on there that don't have the standard that you want for your people to be connected to. So we'd really rather them be part of those associations. Is that right, Ed? Is that the better way to protect yourself?
Yeah, like you said, it's just so important to be working with the right people. You mentioned MLS, and a lot of countries that you will be looking at real estate, they don't have MLS.
Exactly.
Okay, Mexico, for the longest time, really the only MLS was like in Cabo, up the Baja Peninsula. There is a company now that has started. My good buddy owns it. It's called Omni, OMNI MLS. Omni MLS. You can join it. And what they're doing is, he started in Mexico because Russ is his name. They started in Mexico, and now they are getting all the countries in Latin America as well as Caribbean. Right now, I'm helping them take Omni to Trinidad and Tobago because a lot of countries don't have MLS. So there's no exclusivity in a lot of these other countries. So you may see a property on Ed's website, on Marta's website, and on China's website, and they might be different prices. And it's crazy. So
Yeah.
got to just be real careful. Just like we have scam artists here. Last year, there was a guy in Belize. He was selling properties. He was a local in Belize, and he was selling properties of people that did not necessarily live in Belize. But they owned properties in his town, and he knew they lived outside the country and never came and visited this land or these condos or these properties. And he was selling them to people like he had the right to sell them.
Oh gosh.
They
Yeah.
caught him.
So be
Yeah.
careful.
So you just have to be careful to deal with the right people, and that's attorneys, checking titles. Titles are done different in all the different countries, so you got to make sure you're working with somebody that can check title.
And that's the case for leases too, Ed. I know that especially in Mexico, a lot of people want to start out leasing before they buy anything there. You never want to leave deposits with people online, even though you're searching, because a lot of the times they don't own those properties they're accepting deposits for. So you make sure if you have questions, you contact Ed or one of just do your due diligence in each place, because what you don't want to do is attach your name to referring a Sphere member to somebody over there that just because you found them on the internet to give them a connection, and now you're attached to somebody that may not have had their best interest, may not be a good realtor, may not even be a realtor. Okay. So just be very careful when connecting. It's okay to not have a connection somewhere, but reach out to Ed and get these designations, or to somebody that you can trust so that you are connecting them with somebody really good.